Hello, Adam.
Hey, Marcus, how you doing, man?
Very good, very good. It's G4 day.
I was going to say it. There is some big news happening right now, and it is you have purchased yourself a G4.
Yeah, finally, because I had such a great offer, absolutely fantastic, and I couldn't say no.
So I'm guessing today you want to give your first impressions and tell everyone what you think and go from there,
it's
right?
a very, very brief first impression because I literally just unboxed it a couple of hours ago and put it on the wall here behind me. That's the G4. Very brief, I played maybe 10 minutes. I checked out HDR and stuff like that. It's a very bright TV. Absolutely fantastic.
So let me ask you, because I know we had a very brief discussion off air, but have you done the I've never done this, but the break-in period? I've never done this. I've never had any issues with it, but did you go through that whole break-in process?
So this is what I like to talk, because the first impression actually from this TV, it's still not perfect. Okay, so I'm not very happy at the moment with the TV because the panel uniformity is absolutely bad right now. Okay, so when I started up the TV and I immediately saw, I watched a couple of HDR test videos and stuff like that to really test out the panel or the TV, and I saw I have a lot of vertical stripes. Vertical banding.
Banding.
Yeah, and I was like, oh my god, this is not good. Okay, let's fire up dirty screen effect, dirty screen test on YouTube or whatever, and I was absolutely shocked. It was really terrible. So, and I knew the older panels, they need a little bit time, to burn in is the wrong word, to drive to break in. Yeah, sorry, that's the right break in. And I started a couple of times the pixel refresher and stuff like that, and it's getting better. Okay, it's getting better, but it's not even close to my G2 at the moment. It's still relatively bad for an OLED, and I don't even want to talk about the S95C. But what I have to say, I know it will get better over the time. We will see what the end result is. I'm expecting nothing less than G2 quality, which is really good. Not expecting QD OLED quality in terms of panel uniformity. But what I have to say, I tested, of course, HDR and games and whatsoever. This TV, wow, the colors, the brightness, it's just absolutely fantastic.
So aside from the banding, were you happy with just when you were not watching normal content? Is it just the banding you were disappointed with it in the early stages?
Yes, absolutely. It's just this one. The TV has no problem. So what I had with my G2 was a little bit of coil whine. Sometimes when you have a very high bright picture, whatever, you can hear a little bit creak, a little bit of coil whine. It was okay, but it was still noticeable. This TV so far is absolutely silent, which should be for a TV. And I just like how the WebOS is just faster. It's snappier. You know what I mean? It's just better. So at the moment, yes, I hope that the panel uniformity gets better. At the moment, I'm not very happy about that. But the TV is brand new. Okay, it needs hours. It needs 20, 50 hours to break in, actually.
Yeah, they were my next two kind of questions and comments. The first one was, how many hours have you put on it? And second, do you feel that you may be guilty of, it's like sometimes when you go looking for a problem, you're always going to find it. If you didn't put on those banding patterns and you just started watching content, like, you probably would have been really impressed. But yeah, how many hours are we talking right now as it stands?
Probably just 5 at the moment.
Yeah, it's nothing, man. What do the guys over in America normally recommend? It's like, is it 30 hours? 24 hours?
At least probably 24, 25 hours at least, you know what I mean? So it will get better, much better, but I did not notice this, because I do the same testing with all my TVs, in the beginning, and I never noticed this with the G2. Never. So the G2 was out of the box much better. Right. S95C had also vertical banding in the very beginning. It was like, wow, what's going on? Because QD OLED is supposed to be good, but then after 10, 15, 20 hours, including some pixel refresher, what I just run, in the background, it's now perfect. And I'm expecting the same one with G4 at some point.
Yeah, obviously that's very early impressions, and I think you've probably given a very unnecessary early review, but I know you just got it. I know you're excited. I think if you
Absolutely.
got the TV over the weekend and you had the weekend and a couple more days, it'll probably be a very different first
Yeah,
impression.
absolutely, absolutely. I will do a review, of course, of the TV. Right now, it's really just the first impression. Everything works. The colors, especially in the game mode, are significant better than the G2 because they actually resolved the issue with the game mode on the G2, G3, and of course CX and all the other TVs from LG. So this is already much better, and it's just a fantastic TV.
So I guess this is something I always say on our live streams is that I always recommend upgrading an OLED from an OLED to an OLED anything less than 5 years. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people disagree with it. But now that you've got a G2, an S95, is it a D? Is that what you have, a
S95,
D?
no, C.
C. So that's last year's model, right? The 23 model. So you've got a 22, 23, and 24 model OLED now. Do you think, because a lot of people in this stream may have a G2, the C, or a G4, do you think there is a significant difference between each of those increments that you would say to someone sitting on a G2 or a S95C to upgrade? Like, do you still feel like a year is too small? Is there enough incremental improvements?
A year is not enough. So the G2 to the G4. So I haven't had a side-by-side comparison so far. So I took my G2 off and put it in a living room, and the G4 went here. And but when I turned on the TV and I watched some stuff, what I know, like SDR material, some HDR content, whatever, I immediately saw it's just brighter. It's just brighter and looks very, very sharp. I mean, don't get me wrong, the G2 is a fantastic TV. And if I wouldn't have gotten this great deal, then probably I wouldn't buy the G4, to be very honest, because it's not a day and night difference. Coming from the CX then, and watching now the G4, that's a big step up. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I'll be interested to see, once you've had enough time watching, say, content, movies, things like that, to see if you can, a lot of the time, a lot of people have complimented the processing of the G4, and that's kind of what's given it the edge. Some people in some reviews I've seen have actually said, what was Sony's last one, the A95L or L? I think that was the last one. That was the king OLED of last year, and it was kind of like this benchmark that all the other brands were falling short. And obviously the G4 is 1 year newer, but the processor has been improved so much. They're saying in many ways it does outperform Sony's processing. So I'll be very curious to see if you can notice any of those changes moving forward in the future.
Look, I'm so. The good thing is that when I'm comparing stuff on my TVs, I'm always using the same tests. Okay, the same test movies, same games and stuff like that. And I don't know if it is a coincidence or whatever, but the picture on the G4 looks sharper in motion. That's how it is. That's how I feel it. That's also what I noticed when I was at your place. That when you move around, it just stays sharper.
Mm-hmm.
The CX is really, really good in terms of motion, in my opinion. Sometimes I have the feeling better than the G2. But now with the G4, I played a little bit of Ratchet and Clank and stuff like that. And I was like, this is just 60 frames at the moment. Wow, this looks sharper. So maybe it's just because, now it's a G4. But I have to do a little bit more testing. But this is, again, a very early first impression, just 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and so on and so on. And I feel that G4 is just, in general right now, the best TV what I have in this room for sure. Comparing with the S95C will be very interesting at some point, because I'm planning to do the brightness hack actually on the S95C, which gets me roughly around 2000 nits. But I'm
you're not concerned about voiding your warranty?
Yeah, it's already old, you know what I mean? So no, all good.
Okay.
I just, curious about this, you know what I mean? I just like to see what's going on,
Yeah. Okay.
Interesting. Let me bring this one out. Hard 8 Gaming and X Live. You're a little late, aren't you? G4 is out in a few. Yeah, of course. And then the G6 is out, and then the G7, and then the G8. I mean, it's just, I don't understand this comment, because you always want to wait, or what's the deal here? It doesn't make sense. And on the other hand, the G5, when it comes out, will be more than twice as much, what I paid for the G4. So there's not even a question about that, no.
Yeah. One thing I think both of us would agree on is we tend to recommend people, and it's very obvious, to purchase TVs near the end of their life cycle. So Marcus was able to get a really good deal on a G4, which is still arguably the best TV. But as Marcus was saying, like, every year there's going to be a better one. It's like when you buy a new car, the next year there's going to be a new one with shinier wheels and this and that. But the bang for buck you are now getting on these TVs, where, when it came out, it was for the 65-inch, at least in Australia, it was like $4,500, and now Marcus is probably paid less than that. So it's just one of those things, man. It's rock solid TV. There's nothing to be disappointed with it at
No,
all.
absolutely not. And at the end, it's a decision, because look, people ask me why you're not getting the S95D, or why you're not waiting. So first of all, waiting is it's pointless, to be very honest. And I'm fortunate enough that, let's say, I have enough TVs that I don't need to wait. I just look really for a very good offer now, because honestly, the S95D, I don't like the matte panel, the coating. I don't like the reflection, how it looks like. Absolutely not. You must watch this TV, in my opinion, in a very dark room to have a very nice contrast. So this is also something what I immediately noticed. The MLA layer, or the layer on this, it's not perfectly black anymore. It's very similar to the S95C what I have. It's not even close to the G2. The G2 is pure black, absolutely black. You put this in the room, it's black. This one is reddish. Okay, so as soon there's light on, as soon there's a lot of light on, don't get me wrong.
I didn't notice that on my 83 inch.
No, you have a very dark room. Forget about this. You will never notice. It will just be perfect. The S95D is the same problem. As soon there's a light going on, it will not be perfect black anymore, and I don't like this. Arguably, don't get me wrong, the S95D is a fantastic gaming TV. Fantastic. The QD OLED panel is superior over the WOLED. That's how it is. But what I also learned over the time with testing my stuff and whatsoever, yes, the QD OLED has more punch. Okay, but I also have to say my QD OLED is not professionally calibrated, because you need a special calibration meter actually to do that, because of the pixels. So it's different to WOLED, so I can't do it, unfortunately.
Can I just jump in there quickly?
Yeah.
Sorry, just something you said there. The QD OLED has more punch in comparison to what?
Now in color volume. Okay.
Oh, just in color. Okay.
But the thing is, and this is, as soon I would calibrate the G4, G2, and the S95C to the absolute perfect standard, in most of the games, you will never see any difference. Never. Just in games like the Crew Motorfest, for an example, where you have actually HDR colors in use, you will see a big difference to the WOLEDs, because the QD OLED is just better. But unfortunately, so many games just using the REC 709 color space and in a color volume which the LG G2 CX easily can actually produce. So no problem at all. But again, the QD OLED panel is better. There's no doubt about that.
Do you have any intention of getting your S95C side by side with that G4 and then doing some comparisons that way?
So what I will do is I will do side by side comparisons. So that means I will film one of the TV and then another TV with the same camera settings, obviously. But I will do it. And so the problem also with side-by-side comparison is always you can't just use one camera setting. And the problem is QD OLED looks bluish and the WL OLED looking reddish, or the other way around. But there's a difference. So you need to change the white point of your camera to have really the same picture. So that's
I was thinking more just for, like, that sounds cool, recording it for a video, but I was actually just thinking more for your own kind of I guess, sanity where you can put them together, you spend time with them, and then you can really see, because that was one of the things I was very interested in when you saw my 83 G4. You know, I kept asking you, how does it compare with your QD OLED? How does it compare? Because I think if they had an 83-inch panel, I would have seriously considered.
So if the S95D, let's put it like that, would have the same panel coding like the S95C, and would have a perfect HDHG tone mapping, then I would buy the S95D. So the thing why I went with the G4 is first of all MLA layer. I haven't experienced this, in my own room. I like to see that. And then you have then in terms of tone mapping, HDHG, excuse me, all the new tone mapping options. What you have on the G4 is just absolutely fantastic for what I need this. I need this stuff on my channel to do proper HDR testing. Okay, and there is no way Samsung can do that, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see how your opinions evolve over the next week or two, because obviously I know you're very excited. You appreciate QD OLED. I know you really promote that a lot, and now that you've got probably the best WOLED money can buy at the moment, I'd love to see, like, after a couple of weeks when the panel's broken in and you've actually had time to adjust it, because in terms of the G4, you don't need to calibrate that. Everyone is saying like that's pretty much spot on. So let the panel break in. But I will be interested to see when you're watching movies, playing games, if you might come back in a week or two on another stream and say, hey, actually the QD, one person I've been talking to offline, they constantly say, man, the QD OLED is just better for gaming, color, punchiness, but the G4 is better for everything else, watching TV, watching movies. So be interested to see your professional opinion when you have a bit more time with it.
Absolutely. So Branislav got the 77-inch S95C for 2,000 euros. I mean, not sure if this is a good price or not, but it sounds okay, and 77-inch is probably absolutely fantastic. So I went with the 65-inch because that's all what I need. And it's actually, if you're considering for what I'm going to use this TV, it's actually really, because I will probably never watch a movie there just to enjoy it, because this is my office. It's my PC monitor, okay? So I'm using the G4 as a PC monitor. That's how it is, but I need the best possible quality. That's how it is, and the S95C is for entertainment, which is absolutely fine. But just from a professional point of view, I know that the LG are more professional. That's how it is in terms of software updates, in terms of the settings what we have on the TV, in terms of calibrating the TV, it's much better. It's just overall when you look for those things, better. That's the same with NVIDIA versus AMD. As a content creator, I would never buy AMD graphic card. If I'm just a gamer, I would buy an AMD because it's cheaper and it's almost delivering the same frames per second. But content creator, I mean, NVIDIA.
Hey, congrats on the new TV, Branislav.
So there's so many questions again, or so many comments. Thank you very much for this. Yeah, I saw this actually. This is interesting. The G4 has an option to enable Dolby Vision on PC. Is it better than HDR? Not recommended for gaming on PC, especially on games like Call of Duty Black, which natively supports Dolby Vision. So I haven't heard about that this actually natively supports Dolby Vision. I would need to look into that. And I don't know what this Dolby Vision option is. I think at the moment, what I think it is just instead of HDR, when you have HDR content, you turn this option on, and it just uses Dolby Vision picture mode, which is then probably, I don't know why we would use this, because if there's just an HDR signal, what's the point of using Dolby Vision? It doesn't get better. No way. But because as soon you use a native Dolby Vision signal, it will already change automatically. Okay, so but I would need to look into this. Here we have 300 nits of SDR is enough. Yeah, SDR brightness on this TV is absolutely wow. Absolutely wow. And I noticed this immediately because I know what the little one is watching for comics and cartoons, and this is the best to test actually. And this is really incredible. But I have to say, still the S95C is brighter in terms of SDR. But you should not watch SDR.
You haven't broken that panel in yet, so give it time.
Yeah.
I think these are early comments though.
This one here, yeah. One advantage of Samsung QD OLED is Game Motion Plus. Absolutely. I said this so many times. That's why I play on the Samsung. Okay, that's when I like to play, or for not for testing. Then I play on the Samsung with Game Motion Plus, fixed 60 FPS, and it feels like and it looks like 120 hertz FPS. It's not a joke, you know. And this is what is a little bit missing on the LG OLED TV, but I haven't tested this because you can do it with the filmmaker mode, and then you use True Motion and stuff like that. But the input lag is slightly higher than on the Samsung with Game Motion Plus, and it's not as sharp. But I haven't tried it here, you know. So to be fair, there are many. Let me just. Nice upgrade. Thank you very much. S90D versus G4 for gaming. It's hard to say. if you like
early, man.
Yeah, it's too early. Yeah, the G4. You're not doing anything wrong with either of those TVs. You know, that's how it is.
Yeah, when people ask those questions, like again, we have to reiterate. It's like, man, they're like both top tier and in different things. One will just slightly out edge the other, but man, it's like if you buy one, you're not going to go, man, I should have got the other one. You're going to be so happy with those TVs. Like either one will be a killer.
So again, the reason why I'm not putting the G4 in my cinema room is because I have to use this as a monitor. The QD OLED TVs are not, in my opinion, not usable perfectly for monitors because of the pixel structure. You have this color fringing on text, which I can easily spot because I'm using a very so I mean, of course, I'm using the 4K resolution, but the what is the name?
I like the text scaling.
The text scaling is just set to 150%. You know what I mean? So it's very tiny actually, and it's easily to spot. You know, the QD OLED is super sharp, absolutely super sharp. It's not even comparable. You don't see this problem in games or whatsoever. Not at all. Okay, so it's really just with text, but because I'm using this as a PC monitor with a lot of editing and a lot of text and stuff like that, it's noticeable. And of course, because of all the feature like fine-tune dark area setting, HDRG is spot on and stuff like that, it's just a better TV for me for doing testing. Okay, but that's just for me, you know.
I think I watched an interview with someone from Samsung saying the newer generation of QD OLED panels have resolved that issue with the text fringing. So I think the newer models have the panels have been, I guess, adjusted to resolve that issue. I could be wrong, but I do remember watching someone from Samsung actually discussing that issue. But before we jump on to the next question, I really think you need to find a couple of movies you like, and you need to spend some time, because that's like a big portion of the TVs, like what people are looking for. I know a lot of people come here for gaming and like looking at your advice, but yeah, I really do think, because I think, as I said, a lot of people say QD OLED is better for gaming, but the G4 is it edges it out when it comes to movies. So I think you should actually spend a bit of time. I know you don't do much of that, but I think it would be worth it if you.
No, absolutely. But I will see this over the next coming days. You know what I mean? Because I'm testing a lot, I'm comparing a lot, and that's just how it is. You know, it comes over the time. So he's a little bit late to the stream. No, you're fine. What do you think about MLA OLED compared to S95C or LG G2 so far? So far, it's absolutely fantastic, but it's too early to actually tell you exactly what you should get. You know what I mean? Because it's always a price question as well. You know, if you get a good offer for any TV, then maybe that's the way to go.
Look, I will comment slightly on that. So I have a C183 and a G177 inch, and I quite often go from room to room from the G4, C1, G1, and it really depends on the type of room you have it in. Like my G4 is in a theater room, but I can have a bit of light if I open the blinds. My C1's in a room that goes pitch black. and in a pitch black room, my C1 still performs very well. So yeah, if you're looking at a G2 or something like that, if you've got a dark room, man, like that's going to be super powerful. So it's just if you have a room with a lot of light, the G4 is a must-have in my opinion.
Yeah. So Nono is asking, at last, are you planning to test PFI 120 Hz on your CX? I have done this back then already. You talked about motion clarity on your G4, but you have never experienced real motion clarity. How do you know this? That I never experienced that? That's just an assumption, because I have. So first of all, BFI 120 Hz on the CX is interesting feature, but I can't use it. Picture is way too dim and it's flickering. I don't like it. Full stop. It's in terms of motion clarity, no doubt about that. It's super sharp, but that's not. I can't use it. Okay. So Game Motion Plus is the way to go if you like to have great motion clarity in combination with still the great picture, because there's no downside at all, and in terms of input lag also not. But no, not BFI. Sorry for that. Not on the CX, let's say like this. A different TV would be interesting with much higher peak brightness. Just going to the comments, because last time with aerial streams,
this one's interesting.
Actually,
so what happened last time with aerial stream?
No, because people complained that we're not going fast enough to the comments. Which
right, okay. So this one's interesting. Will there eventually be a detailed video on the how to and correct options in which to choose when hacking the G4? Man, I don't think there is a reason to hack the G4, but I've never heard of anyone going into the service menu because it's just not necessary, but I could be wrong.
So what about what's the hacking? What is the
I think he's implying, you know how you can sometimes, for example, in the QD-OLEDs, you can go in the service menu and jack up the brightness and just get extra performance out of the television. So I think that's what he's referring to. If you're going to do some sort of a hacking detail video where you can explain people how to.
But there is nothing, in my opinion. I never heard about that you can hack the G4. I never heard about
you could get into the service menu, but I haven't heard of anyone changing options to get better performance out of it.
And I'm not planning to do it at the moment. It's a brand new TV. I'm not risking this, you know. And look, the thing is, back then with the CX and stuff like that, there was a very aggressive ABL, the brightness limiter. And because I used this as a PC monitor, it was really noticeable when you move windows and stuff like that. So I disabled this, you know what I mean? So it's better. So, but I'm not planning to do that here, you know what I mean? Because it's just bright enough, you know what I mean? It's good.
Here's one. So, hey guys, yesterday I got my G4 upgrading from an LG C1. So, welcome to the club. Christy, I would love to see if you could post a little bit later and we'll catch up to it. How you feel the difference was, because I have a 83 C1, 83 G4, and I always say, yes, there is a difference. But if my TV at the time didn't fail, I would never have bought that G4. I think my C1 is still good enough, but I would love to hear your feedback if you can post a little bit later.
So he actually wrote...
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
This one, yeah. I didn't install it yet. What do you think?
Right.
What are the main improvements? He didn't install it yet, yeah.
Okay, that answers my question.
Main improvement will be brightness, better motion clarity. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's the motion clarity is better. That's what I noticed. And when you spend so much time, you know, in front of a monitor or TV or whatever, you know how the TV, what you can expect and how it looks like, and then you turn on a new TV and you say, "Wow, okay, that's good."
Oh, it is a hell of a lot brighter than my C1, but my C1 is in a pitch black room and my G4 is in a mixed kind of environment, so it kind of like balances that out. But yeah, congrats, you'll be happy.
So Runa 313, just wanted to say I love your channel. Always the first place I come to look for the best HDR settings for new games. You're very welcome. Thanks for watching. Thank you very much. Yeah, so SDR brightness. So the other day someone asked me what the setting is for the G4 to achieve 100 nits for SDR. So first of all, I don't know yet because, again, 5 hours old. But then I'll have to say I wouldn't use 100 nits. I would use 200 nits at least. And the reason for that is that PlayStation, Xbox outputting 250 nits? That's the maximum. Wouldn't say peak brightness, but that's the maximum brightness what they can deliver in SDR. Okay, so forget about the stories what we have with 100 nits SDR. This was the case many years ago, but we have now much higher brightness because it's just not enough anymore. Okay, so minimum 200 nits for SDR. That's my recommendation, but I need to find out what the settings are then. This one, what is this one here? There is a gigantic price delta between a G3 and S90D. That's like asking whether to buy a S-Class or a Camry. Okay, so what's the difference? How much is it? So is the G3 still more expensive? Because Samsung is usually more affordable.
Yeah, I was actually thinking if Samsung released an 83-inch QD OLED, would I upgrade? And I just don't think I can right now. I'm just too angry at Samsung. I've heard so many complaints. I had quite a few people email me and reach out to me just to chat, just to talk about things. And the amount of people that complain about the QD OLEDs with the One Connect box blows my mind. I've heard so many people say the TV was awesome, but the One Connect box is a nightmare. So yeah, I'm still apprehensive about buying a Samsung at the moment, but I'll be very interested to see what LG does with the G5, because I just don't think there's much more room to stretch their legs with WOLED. Just QD OLED just seems to have all the right answers at the moment. So what could they do from a G5, from a 4 to a 5, besides give you more brightness and processing?
But so the first thing what was already announced or verified is 165 hertz for the panel instead of 144 hertz, what we have now on the G4. So this is, it's an upgrade, but it's always like this, little jumps ahead. I mean, if you like a little bit of faster panels, go ahead. But I think I have here in front of me a 240 hertz OLED panel, which is wow. Okay, so don't get me wrong, a refresh rate is important, but that's not the reason why I would wait for the G5, to be very honest, because the jump from 144 to 165 is not as big, and then you need to have also maybe a 5090 to support this at some point, in Cyberpunk. So I don't know what they can do. More brightness, of course. We will probably, I'm not even sure if we see a better processor, because they just upgraded the processor with the G4. So I'm not sure if this is coming, You will see little tweaks, of course. Maybe they can improve the MLA layer. I don't know.
How much brighter does it need to get? Like some people, including myself, I often turn down the brightness in some scenes. So it's like throwing more brightness at us it's like selling a car that does 200 kilometers an hour and 300 kilometers an hour. The speed limit is 110, at least in Australia. So it's like, when are you going to use that? But anyway.
Yeah, you need to live in Germany then.
That would be nice. Autobahn. So do I need to do a calibration with a professional if I buy a new TV, Marcus?
Nah, not depending what TV. But if you buy the high-end TVs like the Samsung S95C, D, G3, C4, no, don't waste your, sorry, Classy, if you're listening, but don't waste your money. Because it's just, they're already so good out of the box. Okay, they are so good out of the box. So when it comes to Dolby Vision, and I think Dolby Vision content, then I think if I remember correctly what Classy told me, Dolby Vision is still not following the EOTF curve as it should be. That's why I still not recommend to play in Dolby Vision gaming mode, but different story. That would be a reason why you should calibrate your TV if you like to use Dolby Vision content, but not for normal content. But it's just so I literally turned this on, and my G2 is calibrated by myself. I spend hours on that, and I turned this on, and it's not a side-by-side comparison, but I would say I have trained eyes for this and say, wow, this just looks really nice, really on spot,
Just from Chad, a super chat. Thank you, Chad. So giving the stream a like really isn't that difficult. I promise you can all do it. That's awesome. Thanks,
thank you very much for that. That's really nice. So not even a question, just that people like.
Thanks,
wow,
Chad.
thank you very much.
While we're on that, so if people don't mind, I've just released a video on my channel with
Yes.
Marcus and I. So Marcus came down to Sydney. We recorded a bunch of videos, and the first one just came out on my channel. So I'm just trying to build my channel. I'm investing quite a lot of everything into my channel. So if people are willing to go and chuck a subscribe, a like, check out my new video with Marcus, it's really cool. Did you have that little video there, Marcus, by any chance? We'll just
I can show you this here. You know,
So
I
this
don't have
is
the video,
the
but that's your video, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the video. So Marcus and I went and purchased 3 budget TVs. As you can see, Telefunken, Hisense, and TCL. Marcus came down, and yeah, this was Marcus's favorite part, where the TV had wheels, which
Yeah,
was pretty cool, man. It just like
it
flipped out
is.
from
It
the
is.
bottom, and you could just roll that
I
TV
mean,
around.
now
So,
this is
sorry, Marcus, go on.
now this was really an experience, and just check out his channel. Just go now, not now after the live stream, okay? But
Yeah, stay
just
with
watch
us.
the video. and I would really like to know your honest opinion, what you like about what you think about the video itself, okay? Because it's an entertainment video. It's not like pure technical, you know what I mean? It's for entertainment, and I really had a lot of fun actually making this video.
Yeah, and Marcus is right. So just to manage your expectations, Marcus is very detailed and into the nitty gritty of it. This is more of like a Linus Tech Tips video, where we go to the store, we pick out TVs, we take them back to the studio, we just have a bunch of fun. So it's a bit more of an informal type video, where we're in the studio mucking around. So so guys, as I said, we put a bit of time and money into these videos. So if you guys don't mind, I'd love for you guys to just check it out. And as I said, let us know in the comments if you do like it, if you don't like it, because we've got a few more in the can that will be coming out soon. And I think Marcus and I have decided Marcus may come down again to Sydney and do a couple more videos. So I think there's a link in the chat there. So we'll move on now. But thank you everyone. I'd appreciate it.
So, okay. What was the topic? G4. No, but
so
seriously, check out the video. You know what I mean? And I'm so happy when you invite me again, because it was just great.
We had a blast, man.
I felt a little bit like Linus, you know what I mean? Because it was, seriously. It's a complete different type of videos. You know what I'm doing here and what we have done at your place.
Yeah, it was good because we both geeked out. We were both so into it. We had so much fun, and it's just good being able to go out and pick up TVs and just experiment and have fun. So it was very different to what Marcus does, and I'm trying to do a lot more like that. So so thank you for coming, Marcus. I know it took a bit of time out of your family time. So
family.
Family.
No, all good. Now, okay. So again, thank you very much, Chad, again for telling the people to like, please. Thank you very much. 83-inch QD OLED would be great. Adam would upgrade.
Maybe.
But we will see. I'm not even sure what Samsung. I mean, it's interesting what comes next. You know what I mean. Samsung will probably also increase the refresh rate, most likely. Of course, brightness, because the S95C is already now capable of doing up to 2000 nits. I don't know if you have seen the video from Ariel, where he goes step by step how he has done it, and it shows actually that the colors not clipping. The colors are not clipping. They're going up to 2000 nits. The colors, unbelievable. Wow. You need to. This is just wow.
That's
impressive. That is, not sure if you need that, but
just on the back of that comment, 83-inch QD OLED. For me, I just had a thought then. The only thing that LG could bring next year that would really excite me would be if they could get the price of their 97-inch panels down to a reasonable price, because I feel like that's the only way. Imagine getting a G4 for, maybe another 5,000-6,000 on top of a 83-inch. It's still a lot, but it puts it in a more reasonable grasp, because I think in Australia it's like 30,000 Aussie dollars. And the amount of 98, 100, 110, 115 LCDs coming out now, and they're coming out cheap. Like we were looking on Black Friday, like $2,900 98-inch TVs. So it's like
Yeah.
LG is becoming a luxury now, even more so. So, and as I said, yeah, as that comment said, if there are going to be 83-inch QD OLEDs, like I think that's the end for WOLED. The only thing that they could do is bring down the price of their larger displays,
Yeah.
and just people will be jumping back on WOLED.
Yeah. Looking forward to see the prices for the G5 anyway against the new S95E or F or whatever they're naming it. I don't know. Because LG is always more expensive, at least here in Australia. And I don't know why. Because
they're
doesn't
like
make much sense.
iPhones. It just seems like the price is like this, and then when the new iPhone comes out, it just jumps in at that same price slot. So every year, I know the 83-inch G series is always about 10,000 Aussie when it first comes out. So I expect it to be around that. I don't think they could go more expensive. I think that would really hurt themselves.
No.
Galvatron Type R, first time seeing.
What does it mean?
Down.
What does it mean? Huh? Why are you crying? I know I have a little bit too much here around this area, but it's okay. But what was one of your comments on the video? Like, two people, one looks like whatever. I can't remember.
One looks like the Hulk, one looks like Bruce Banner.
Yeah, and I just asked who is who.
Yeah, that was funny.
Okay, what is this here? So LG needs to release a 42-inch G5. Oh my god! I mean, to be very honest, this is also something we should talk more often. PC screen monitors versus TVs. I know the problem is that, of course, you don't have maybe not the space actually to put a 50-inch TV on your desk, but at some point, when we're talking about 32-inch screen or whatever versus a 42-inch TV, let's say there will be a G5. I mean, there's no doubt that the G5 will outrun all these screens what you can get. So except QD OLED, of course. But this is something, really. They need to
It's
have.
interesting to see the crossover where like the PC monitors are slowly fading into the same territory as the TV displays. I know you said they have a higher refresh rate and all that stuff. What was it that you said the new one has 166 or which TV were you referring to? You said something, maybe I got that incorrect.
165 hertz.
Which TV has that? Did you
G5.
say?
The G5.
The G, is that what you've heard, the rumor?
That's already confirmed. That's confirmed.
So because I have no idea about PC monitors, do any of the PC monitors from LG Display that have the LG panels, do they have MLA?
Already. Wow, that's a good question. I'm not sure about that at the moment. Maybe the viewers can answer this. But I know we have a 360 hertz LG.
Yeah, that's wild. That's wild.
So, and of course, I can understand this. This is something, especially when we're talking about 1440p 360 hertz. That's something what PC gamers want. They want a high refresh rate. Fully understandable. Fully understandable. But for casual players, it's not. It's pointless, to be honest, because you need such a great system to actually achieve this high frame rate with okay graphic, even in 1440p resolution. But again, nothing beats refresh rate or FPS. Don't get me wrong, okay? Whose Cypher is saying apparently LG is in the works with FOLED tech. It's basically ready. What was FOLED?
FOLED is a phosphorescent, so it's specifically the blue subpixel. So from my understanding, the red and the green subpixels are already using phosphorescence. Yes, okay. So it just brings more efficiency, and I think it's just a higher brightness. So it's just the one subpixel. I don't know. They've been saying it's been ready for a while. It was supposed to come out with the G4, but I've heard there's quite a bit of instability, and they haven't got the what is it, the life cycle on it. It has a much shorter life cycle than its current one. So be interesting, man. But even if they do bring out phosphorescent blue, okay, so what? It's still a WOLED. Like, I'm all for it, don't get me wrong, but it's still, a WOLED. So maybe a bit brighter, but until they get rid of that white subpixel, It's always going to have it's never going to compete with a QD OLED.
So nothing changes actually, but they're using a different.
Yeah, it's just like the chemical the blue subpixel is made out
chemical.
of.
Okay, yeah, got you. Okay, yeah, but anyway, will be interesting. So I mean, does anyone know much about the G5 so far? And no, so maybe we get a big surprise. Maybe we get a big surprise.
Let's hope so, man. We're all for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me answer this one here from Galvatron. Marcus, how do you get games for comparison among platforms? Do you buy multiple games or do you get review codes from publishers? Both. So I'm getting review codes and I have to buy games. Okay, so it's getting better with review codes, but with some publisher like Sony or something like that, or Konami or Capcom, it's very hard to get anything if you're not $1 million channel or whatever. That's a problem.
I'm just going through. There's quite a few comments.
Yeah, me as well, because last time we were told off from someone and he was right.
So Chris is joining us. So Chris is here. Just want to say thank you very much. Chris has been helping Marcus and I behind the scenes, just helping us do a few things. So just want to say big shout out. Really appreciate your help and support. And I know Marcus is pretty happy at the moment. He's got a new G4. So G4, thank you very much. So the question is, how's the G4 going so far?
So far, good. Absolutely. I mean, again, it's very early first impression, but I am very happy. Everything went smooth in terms of, because this is also something, I had issues with my CX back then when I bought it. It worked actually exactly for a day and then it broke, but I had a very quick replacement actually, and since then no problems so far. There are a couple of pixels now on the edges which disappearing, which I heard is quite normal, unfortunately, for the CX. But in terms of software updates, at least LG is on top, because we had issues with Samsung like crazy.
For sure.
The S95C is much better. I think Samsung learned the lesson anyway. I just hope they learned the lesson, okay? But I'm happy with the G4 at the moment, but I need to test so much stuff.
Yeah, it's still early days. You haven't broken the panel in. What do you say? It's got like 5 hours on it, so it's probably still very
6.
early days. 6. But I can speak for my G4 is that man, out of the box, it's just, you don't have to touch anything. It's just probably the best OLED in terms of all that kind of calibration stuff. No need to touch.
No, I'm very happy. And again, thank you very much, Chris.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Chris, very knowledgeable. We had a couple of good conversations about TVs.
Perfect. We will talk later when the G5 is here. That's how it is, So 1440p WOLED are 480 hertz. QD OLED 1440p is 360 hertz. Wow, I mean 480 hertz. This is going crazy, really. This is going crazy. It's the same with brightness. When are you stopping?
For me, when I see that, like, I used to play competitive video games like Quake and things like that when I was younger, and I know with like the modern versions, I still watch a lot of the big comps overseas in Europe and America, and I know a lot of the pro gamers, they don't go past 240, a lot of them, and I know they have monitors that do more, but I'm just curious. So if the pro gamers, at least what I'm watching, people might disagree, but if the pro gamers I'm watching that are playing these fast twitch, Counter-Strike, Quake type games aren't going past 240, like, do you find that you might be getting to a point of diminishing returns? Like, I can tell the difference night and day between 30, 60, 120.
Of course. Yeah.
But I would assume maybe from 120, the next step I could probably tell, but kind of once you go past like 240, like, can you really feel a difference? It'd just be interesting.
I have, again, 240 hertz OLED screen here, OLED screen in front of me, 27-inch 1440p, and I watch my little one sometimes when he's playing Fortnite, and I can clearly see the difference between 120 and 240, but not as much as when you go from 60 to 120. 1600 or 30 to 60 is already like day and night. 60 to 120 is like okay. 240 is absolutely sharp, but it's not like this jump anymore, you know. So, but I don't know at what point it's too much, to be honest. No idea. So what is this one here? G4 versus S95D. Which one to get? G4. If you ask direct, then get the G4.
Isn't the D the previous year model?
No, the D is the current
24? Oh, 24. Yeah. I always get confused. The way, sorry, just to give people a little tidbit, the way I always count the OLEDs is the number is the year. So if it's the G4, it's a 2024. If it's a G3, it's 2023. So that Samsung, I wish they could just make it easy for us.
Yeah. So Lead is so sad about his S95P because he discovered some burn-in on gray colors. So this is interesting. After 1 year, so what are you doing with the TV? Are you just playing the same game 24/7 or watching the same content? Because I mean, I'm using my G2, my ZX as a PC monitor, and yes, of course, I have my screensaver on after 2 minutes just to make sure nothing burns in. But this is when I'm editing a video, it takes 2, 3, 4 hours. You know, there's no screensaver on. It's always the same symbols. I have literally no issue at all. So it's interesting. But the S95B, on the other hand, has also the first generation panel. We need to consider this. The second generation panel was already much better. And that's how it is. You know, the S95P was the first QD OLED, you know. Oh, okay. He was just playing PlayStation 5. That's it. Okay. Some interfaces burn in and text. Okay. Is actually really interesting. But I wouldn't give too much in. Again, I think this is really more like because of the first generation panel where they didn't probably figure out how to drive the panel in the correct way. Because again, it was the first QD OLED. We need to consider this. And nowadays, companies are not doing testing anymore because we are the beta tester. Okay, so the S95P was technically the beta test. Okay, for the S95C. That's why there's such a big step up from the S95P to the S95C, and that's why I didn't buy the S95P because I was not impressed with. I was impressed with the panel, but not how they actually, use the panel. You know, software technical. It was not good. And Chris says, you're very welcome, guys. Thank you very much again.
And he asked, how are you finding the G4 compared to the S95C? I just picked up a 42-inch C4 and absolutely love it.
It's too early to say. Really, it's too early to say. So again, I said this already. The S95C, in my opinion, has still QD OLED advantage. It has Game Motion Plus. It has for sure the much better panel uniformity without any doubts. And this is very important. But again, don't get me wrong. You won't see any issues with the G2 or the CX or the G4 in terms of panel uniformity. But when you watch sensitive content like hockey,
sensitive,
something like that, you know, something like of soccer or football, where you have one color background and it's moving slowly. The S95C is just perfect. The G2 shows very minor. You have to watch very closely, but it's there. Okay, so just to get you an idea.
I have not noticed any of that on my G4. The only time I noticed anything was a little bit of banding when I watched movies with really dark scenes. I think it was Dune the movie, and it was nighttime in the desert. And I just noticed it like so small, and no one else noticed it in the room. So yeah.
No. And it's hard to, and don't even look for issues anyway. I would not recommend this.
Any TV, QD OLED, LCD, you look for something, you will find it.
Yes, absolutely. And Devon is still loving his CX despite its dead pixels. Yeah, that's really a common issue with the CX. And I think it's also because it was one of, I don't know if they did something different to the panel back then, you know, maybe tried a little bit higher price, whatever. But it's very common that you have on the edges, on the top edges, you lose pixels. They're just gone.
Yeah, I have a few on my C1.
Yeah, I know it takes a lot, some time, to break in. I run a couple of pixel refreshers already to make sure it's a little bit faster. I know you shouldn't do that, but hey, who cares? I mean,
this is an interesting one. So Solon says G4 is a great TV, but why the inferior technology since it costs the same as the S95D? Now, before you jump on that, Marcus, I will say I disagree with that comment. If you watch a lot of the guys who really know their stuff, like what's the guy? Oh man, I'm having a bad day. What's the guy that jumps on our stream with us some nights?
KG.
Tech with KG. And the other guy he works with,
Classy
or
FOMO.
Man, yeah, and FOMO too. But the real technical guys, like they will often say they would pick a G4 over the S95C. So like if you look past like, oh, this is QD-OLED, this is WOLED, which I like these guys can do. They're not favoriting a certain brand or technology. Yeah, there are benefits to both. But remember one of the streams KG was on with us and he was saying QD-OLED. And then at the end he said, but I would pick the G4. Yeah. So do you want to respond to that question?
So first of all, S95D is a complete different TV to my S95C. It's not just because of the brightness, because I can easily make the S95C much brighter than the S95D. Of course, you can do the same thing, but the problem with the S95D, what I have is really the reflection, the panel coating. I just don't like it. Absolutely not.
I didn't like that.
And I said this already. So the first thing what I really noticed, I put my G4 on the wall and said, okay, that's the MLA layer. It's not black anymore. That's the difference. I don't say I don't like it, because the big advantage here, it's just dark when I'm doing something. I mean, I would anyway recommend turn off all your lights when you do something, okay? But the problem is with the S95D, you need to have a really nice dark room to get the same contrast out of it as the S95C.
Yeah.
For an example.
Two other comments. I'll quickly jump in on this because it's kind of it's related to it. So Malinka Dink said WOLED is only really inferior for color saturation at high brightness levels like HDR highlights. Software and updates are much better on the LG as well. And then Chris also said, I disagree. The G4 is not inferior to the S95D. In many ways, the G4 is a better TV. I have both, and both have strengths and weaknesses. So that kind of follows on to that. Yeah, it's just it's so hard not to have favoritism. You know, I actually prefer LG as a brand only because I spent an insane amount of money on an 8K Neo QLED that failed, and they dragged me through hell for months to get it replaced. And so I'm just very like F off Samsung right now. But you have to remain indifferent. You can't just say, oh, that sucks. You know, Xbox is better, PlayStation's better, whatever. But yeah, man, like that's what I said when the guys who really know their stuff and are super technical, they were all saying they would pick the G4. So that just goes to show MLA and their processor have really done amazing things. So it shows you what can still be done with good software and hardware.
So Star Fox is saying game motion, push the input, don't use it. You're talking about input lag. So I haven't noticed any. So I can't tell you, really. You would need to measure this actually professional. There would be probably some sort of delay, but it's absolutely fine. And because I'm a casual gamer, I would always recommend use Game Motion Plus over maybe 1 or 2 milliseconds less input lag, to be very honest, because it's a day and night difference, you know. And just try Diablo 4 with Game Motion Plus on and off, and then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's such a great experience when you now move and you can see all the fine details sharp, you know. So I know I don't want to miss this.
I'd like to experience this Game Motion Plus. I haven't seen any. Don't know anyone with a QD OLED. So I don't know. Should I purchase a 55-inch? Yeah, just bring yours on the plane. But I'm just thinking, should I go out and purchase like a 55-inch just to kind of get some hands-on?
The problem is, you have your 83-inch at home. You know what I mean? The 55 will look not impressive.
I mean, just to experience it, because it's always like you buy the G4 or the PS Pro is because we talk about it. We need to know what we're talking about. So I can't comment a lot of the time. I do know like the QD-OLED has better color vibrancy at brighter levels. But aside from that, I hear a lot of people raving about this Game Motion Plus. So maybe I got to see what it's all about. If you say it's that much better.
It is, in my opinion. You know what I mean? And if you like to experience this, then go for it. Why not? But
there's no equivalent on the G4 or anything like that.
So there's true motion on these. So what you can try is you go into the filmmaker mode, and then somewhere, I forgot where it is exactly, you have the true motion option, maybe under clarity settings probably.
Okay. Maybe you should make a video about that.
I have done this at some point. I compared actually. So the true motion option is actually it's very similar to Samsung. But you have to use the filmmaker mode, which is not a big deal because it's the same input lag more or less, with the game mode. I found that it's not as sharp as Samsung. You have more fringing on the objects, because we still need to understand it's not like a real 120 FPS. It's some processing going on. So Samsung is better in terms of the motion, at least with this option. But you can try it anytime.
Is that only for 60? I was just going to say, so that's only for low frame rate games. It makes a difference.
60 FPS, yeah, 60 FPS, right. And it looks like 120.
Because most of the games I play are all 120 FPS, so I haven't played a 60 game for a while, so I haven't noticed any issues on my G4. But yeah, maybe I don't know what I'm missing.
So Game Motion Blast believe 24 milliseconds versus 6 milliseconds with 120 Hertz.
That's a big difference, man.
But I would. Okay, if this is the case, then I can't feel a difference really. But that would be a lot. But on the other hand, on the problem is you mentioning 120 hertz. So this just counts for the Xbox, because most of the games on the PlayStation 5 running in 60, and then you have 10 milliseconds or 11 or something like that. So I'm not sure. I mean, again, Game Motion Plus will add some input lag, but how much, I have really no idea. It's not, I can't feel it. It's not like you can't play or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah. Huzaifa, I hope I got that correct. Sorry if I did not. Dolby Vision and DTS on LG is a winner for people who watch Blu-ray movies. Samsung is missing both. So yeah, it's interesting. I only use Dolby Vision on my LG TVs when I'm watching movies or TV shows. I don't use it for gaming, but yeah, I have a 2.1 receiver. I have a pretty reasonably high-end home theater audio setup, and yeah, having those formats is, it's definitely great. So I don't know, it's one of those things. When I had my Neo QLED, I always felt like I was missing out when I didn't have that nice little Dolby Vision logo at the top. But I don't know, just at the end of the day, I don't think it's a big deal. Yeah, so I don't know. What do you think, Marcus? Like, he definitely has a point. There are some points there that LG do have, but
so I was very excited back then when LG and Xbox announced Dolby Vision gaming, and because it's just from a technical point of view, Dolby Vision is superior over HDR10, not HDR10 Plus. That's more likely the same as Dolby Vision. But it's just a disappointment when it comes to gaming, because just literally one game on the Xbox Series supports Dolby Vision natively, Halo Infinite, and that's it. And most of the LG TVs, and I need to confirm this again, but I think even the G4 is the same, they have not a perfect out-of-the-box calibration with Dolby Vision. So not in Dolby Vision Filmmaker mode or Dolby Vision Cinema, and especially not in Dolby Vision gaming. So I'm not recommending to use it.
I'll be interested next stream if you can follow up on something like that, because
I will just ask Leslie. He can
okay, I use Dolby Vision when I'm watching a lot of movies, because I do watch a lot of 4K Blu-rays, and so I watch a lot of content in Dolby Vision. So actually, I might ask the stream if anyone knows. From my understanding, and I never say I'm right, so I like to, if people disagree or say that I'm wrong, please correct me. So from what I understand is like from HDR10 to Dolby Vision or HDR10 Plus, that's when you get the dynamic metadata, right? So that's when they can adjust the HDR brightness levels on a scene by scene or even a frame by frame basis. That's my understanding of HDR 10 Plus or Dolby Vision.
Yes.
So my question is, are there any movies out there, Blu-ray movies, that actually are graded on a scene by scene or frame by frame basis? I would be very interested, because I think they just kind of go like, this is your range and it's fixed. So if anyone in the stream knows of any movies that are out there that actually utilizes the dynamic metadata, please put it in the chat, because I really would like to test it.
Yeah, this would be interesting. Yeah, if they really use it.
Yeah.
What is this one here? How is the green tint on a G4? I mean, off angle on sunsets or skin. So I haven't. So again, it's very, very early. I need to break in the panel first to make really sure that I'm seeing what I'm seeing. So far, the first impression in terms of picture quality, when I watch HDR material, bright HDR material is really wow, outstanding. There was also where was this one? I saw something with how does it look like on gray colors. So this is a complete different story. I was absolutely shocked when I turned it on the first time, because I had a lot of vertical bending.
Yeah.
And so hopefully this gets resolved. So
it will.
I heard about a lot of things out of the box, bad impressions, and this was really, really bad. So now after a couple of hours and after 3 times the pixel refresher, it's already much, much better, but I still can see some bending. Okay, so on gray test pattern. Okay, watching something almost invisible now. Okay,
Marcus, are you sure running the pixel refresher this early is a good idea? Because wouldn't you just wait for that break? Because it's a little bit premature, don't you think? Because from my understanding is the pixel refresher just wears down the pixels, tries to even them all out.
Yeah,
so wouldn't it just
exactly what we want in the beginning?
Right?
Wouldn't
it just be a good idea to say, put on some like HDR content on a loop, go to bed, let it just run for 48 hours?
Look, the thing is, what I think, so because you like to wear the pixels out the same speed, or the same the same way, you know what I mean? So
Evenly.
I think evenly, yes, thank you. I think that's why the pixel refresher will do this for the whole panel, okay? And it's nothing else than running the panel probably for several hours, So the pixel refresher will just do it more often or more quicker. So of course I would not recommend to do this 10 times in a row because it will wear out the pixels. But again, we're talking about a brand new TV. I don't know how many times you need to run the pixel refresher until you run into a problem, probably thousands of times, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because the TV will run its own compensation cycles when it's in standby mode. But that's why I was saying, rather than if my approach would be, if I did notice the banding and the things you weren't happy with, I would have rather thrown a good 48 hours of HDR content at it, and then I would have run the refresher if the problem persists after that. But yeah, be interested to see next week on the stream how it all goes.
Any comments on everything PlayStation 5 OLED calibration for gaming? He always advised white and black stabilizer to turn all the way down for correct HDR. No, this doesn't sound right. So as far as I know, the standard factory setting is 1010 or 00. No, it's 1010. And I wouldn't touch it. There was exactly one game where I touched actually the black level, and this was Astrobot. But I would not turning weight. So look, this is always what I'm doing in my videos as well. I show you actually. So we have a setting. The standard setting is 50, let's say. So this is what setting 10 does, and this is setting 90. And you can immediately see that this can't be right so close to minimum or maximum. Okay, so the same here. It doesn't sound right if you change a setting to the absolute minimum or maximum. It doesn't make sense, because you don't think that LG knows the best what they do for the picture. You know what I mean? So this is just really to adjust very, very minor things, but not doesn't sound right.
Sorry. Chris just said he's had a chat in the past with an LG rep, and he says never do it without needing to. He's referring to the pixel refresh cycles. Look,
Yeah.
I agree with what Chris said, but in terms of like the LG rep, you have to question these reps, like how knowledgeable these guys are. They might know about the models, they might know about a whole bunch of different things, but you know, if I was going to get advice, I'd rather go to Classy or someone like that, or KG to figure all that stuff out. But yeah, I do agree, he's right. I wouldn't be pushing compensation cycles this early.
You shouldn't do this every day. For sure not.
Maybe Matrix.
Matrix.
Okay. Matrix, the original one. I'd be
In terms of
I was going to say
HDR10?
that's so long ago. I wonder if it's been remastered. Maybe I'll check that one out. Thank you. If anyone else knows of any movies with true Dolby Vision metadata, please let me know.
Just don't use pixel refresher too much. Yeah, we had this already. I know, but it's for breaking the TV in a little bit faster. Absolutely, I would do it. But don't do it. Okay.
See, a lot of people, this is one thing I actually contacted. I think it was like, because I talk with FOMO a little bit every now and then, not much, but I think it was him. When I first got my C1s back in the day and my G1, these were my first experience with OLED. And I was like so confused about this break-in period. And yeah, a lot of people go on, oh, you have to do 100 hours with this content on the screen. It's like, well, it'll just naturally break in, even if you don't do, because you think, do the average consumers go and like, I just bought an OLED, I need to do 100 hours of HDR content to break it in. People don't do that. If you just use the TV, yeah, after a certain amount of time, it will break in. But yes, for people like us who just want to get to the stuff straight away,
it's just faster. It's just way faster to use the pixel refresher in the beginning. If it's good or not for the panel, to be honest, at this very moment, I don't care. Because I like to see if the panel uniformity gets better. If it's worse, then my G2, the G4 goes back. That's how it is.
And see, Jay Bez has got the idea. It's its first time. Just take it slow. You know, you don't need to go all in all the way. Just nice and light.
Right, yeah. Okay, I got it. No time for that. No time for that. But I agree on that. So I watched a couple of HDR videos, and yes, the G4 is absolutely bright, not just in highlights, in general. Okay, brighter. It's not like a wow day and night difference to the G2 or S95C, but it just feels better. So for an example, on the CX, I always had the feeling, even with dynamic tone mapping on, when you watch a movie and you have a very sunny scene or 12 noon or whatever, you have the feeling there's something missing. It doesn't look like it's bright outside. With the S95C, of course, the G2, not a problem at all. And the G4 is just, wow, okay, this is really what you expect.
Yeah. Just a quick one here. I like Vinny. A lot of people don't like Vinny. I don't know why. I have heard things, but I've never spoken to him. I like his content. I think he's really good at what he does, but yeah, he makes some really good OLED content. So yeah, if anyone's interested, I would check him out too. But
I watched him as well. Yeah.
So New and Old said, I don't think you should care though. I mean, you have a 5-year panel warranty. Like, I don't think in Australia we actually get that 5-year warranty. I don't know if
it's on the box. I checked it. A limited 5-year panel warranty. It's on the box. It was not on the box on the G2. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, it was on mine. But at the same time, you should care though, man, because I've had my 83-inch C1 panel replaced and I was pushing to get the TV just returned and get a refund so I could buy something else. And man, yeah, it's not something you want to go through intentionally if you don't have to. It's not fun. They have to rip the TV off, take off all the electronics, replace the panel, take it off the wall, especially if it's a large size. They damage the wall, that kind of thing. But yeah, it's never fun.
So Brandon is saying, after 2 weeks, the vertical banding reduced and my MLS Sony OLED monitor improved. 2 weeks, I don't want to wait. So that's the thing, you know. I'm not waiting 2 weeks, you know. And then you said it just improved, you know. I need to know within a couple of days if the panel uniformity on my G4 is the same as on my G2. That's the minimum I was expecting. I'm not expecting a QD OLED uniformity, but I'm not waiting 2 weeks, to be honest. No.
Look, is your main concern is if the panel doesn't improve, you would go back to the retailer and ask them to replace it or something like that. That's where I would say to you, Marcus, after the stream, slap on some HDR content, go to bed, put on like a 10-hour video.
That's anyway. So there will be some test pattern running. Like I don't know if you know the plasma breaks in test pattern from back then, with white, red, and whatsoever. So that's what I would actually recommend, to evenly break in the panel. So content like this at the moment is nice as a screensaver, but it will not evenly break in the panel. Not sure if this is really necessary, blah, blah, blah. Maybe not, but if you break in the panel, then do it with the right content, in my opinion. But
so what is the right content? Like full color slides or real content?
No, so it's probably a mix, you know what I mean? Because I'm using for the first couple of hours the color slides, because it's evenly, okay? So it's white, green, and all the colors, what you need, and it's changing every couple of seconds, just to break them in, okay? So and then of course you should have some changing pixels as well, to make sure it's that the pixels are actually doing something, not just having static pictures.
Sure.
But that's how I did it so far, and everything is fine.
Yeah, because I've heard different people say, oh, you need to put on specific break-in content. And then I've heard other people who I respect saying, man, just chuck on a HDR movie, or just put on some HDR stuff on YouTube. HDR is HDR. So I don't think there's a right or a wrong way to do it. I just think you need to get some hours on that TV.
Yeah. Most important is that you use full screen. So don't watch a movie with 16:9, because then it's pointless, to be honest. But anyway, at the end, it's fine. You watch, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Daikin says, crazy to me was that Samsung won Cinema TV on HD TV test. Also in Germany, Samsung won overall. See that from what I remember, I watched the HD TV test stuff, and didn't the G4 win most of the categories, which surprised me? I correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, that was one of the things when a few people say, oh, QD OLED's better. It's like, man, everyone that seems to know what they're talking about is saying like, yeah, QD OLED's got these things. And for me, I'm a gamer mostly, so QD OLED would probably be a better TV for someone like me. But man, everyone at the end of the day is like, I would pick the G4. So yeah, I might have to go and check that out a bit more. But it is interesting to see how things are playing out.
This is actually... Be interested in seeing a like-for-like power consumption comparison between QD OLED and the G4, G3. That's actually a good idea. I can actually do that. That's an easy test.
This is one for
you,
you,
on the other
Marcus.
Hand, would it change something? No.
I have the G2. Should I upgrade to the G4? So Marcus has just done that. Yes. Tune in next week, man. I think it's still early days. I can tell you I have a G1 and a C1. And I would say no to myself. The only reason I got the G4 was my 8K Samsung failed, and I got a refund, and I just wanted the best TV there was. But it is better, it's brighter, all those good things. But man, it's a G2. It's only 2 years old. You give it another 2 years, man. Hold your horses, in my opinion.
Yeah. So the reason why I upgraded now, first of all, because if I'm not doing it now, then the G4 is increasing in price at some point again, because that's how it works. And I had a really good offer. Thanks, Chris, again. And I really like LG because of all the tone mapping options what it has now. Samsung is not even close with that, and it's not that you need that as a normal gamer, or even a hardcore gamer. You don't need this stuff, but I like to have it to actually test HDR. I like to see, to get the best result out of it, to get the best settings out of it, for you. So that's why LG is my number one.
One other thing I would put on top of that is, if you have multiple devices connected to your TV, in at least my experience, the LGs speak much better CEC. I have a sound system with everything plugged into it, and I have so much going on. Yeah. When I had my Samsung with the One Connect box, man, the CEC was a nightmare, and it didn't work. And I actually thought it was my receiver that was the problem. As soon as I put my LG in there, everything worked perfectly. So that's another reason I think LG just have that part down so well.
Yeah. So connecting consoles or disconnecting consoles and connecting new ones or whatever is a nightmare on Samsung, because it doesn't remember anything what was connected. It doesn't remember anything. I can do whatever I want on a G2.
It identifies it.
And it just uses the same setting as before. I'm absolutely happy with that. So again, this is nothing what a normal gamer would ever experience, because they're putting the PlayStation in and that's it for 4 years. Okay, I get this, but this is just for me a nightmare. Absolutely. Anyway, how much? What is this? Just turn on store mode. No, why should I do this? No. I don't want the store mode.
I think he's referring to breaking in your panel. Just turn on store mode. Well, new and old, he said. So when I think he's referencing when I mentioned the HD TV test. He's right. They all score within 1 point, which is why I often say, and I'm people who have tuned in every week, I'm sorry if you're sick of me saying this, but when you get to these TVs, they are all the same. The Sony, the Samsung, the LG. It's just one's a little bit better here, one's a little bit better there. And it's like whichever one you get, when people say, should I get the S95D? Should I get the G4? It's like, man, I just really don't think you're going to be unhappy with either of them. So it's just splitting hairs all the time. Absolutely. So that's what we do.
I think at the end, it's really about the reflection of the panel, which can be a deal breaker for some people, because the S95D can be a little bit worse compared to G4. But and then it's really about maybe the remote, if you like WebOS better, or if you like the gaming features on the Samsung better, or maybe you need the FTDA defined in dark area settings on the LG TVs. At the end, it's really hard. It's very hard.
Congrats on the G4. What do you think about the TCL maybe X95? That's kind of a random question. Like, hey, you got this TV. What do you think about that one? Have you got an experience with a TLC?
I never saw this TV, so I don't know. I don't think that what it will not be better. That's how it is. But I have no idea.
G4 basically will become reference for Marcus doing game settings. So that'll be interesting. So you're going to be doing game settings for both TVs now, or mostly the G4?
When it comes to HDR, I just need to see actually how it looks like how it looks like on the TV I'm testing, and I need to understand what the TV is actually capable of. So then deciding what settings you use for a different TV is actually quite simple, because all what I need to do is actually, I know that the G2 has a maximum peak brightness of around 950 nits, okay? So now the CX has around 750 nits, so there's not much to test anymore, okay? I just need to have a reference picture in the first place, okay? And
what did you say the CX was, the peak brightness?
750 nits.
Roughly. I swear you told me my when you calibrated my C1, that was like 600 nits.
Yeah, it's a big TV. It's a big TV. It's not this. That's the thing. So it can happen that you have a very big TV. What was it? 77 or
83 inch.
83 as well. The power supply is not powerful enough to actually push really the big panel. You know what I mean? So this is what we had, So the CX.
So your CX is brighter than the C1 I have.
Yeah, but in person, your C1 will appear brighter than the CX because it's bigger.
Okay. This is funny. Anthony Smith just said, I just realized gaming tech is in Australia. For whatever reason, I always thought he lives in Germany. Well, yeah, I can understand
that. Must be my accent.
That's funny, man.
But that's fine.
I remember Ariel saying early on that he had to change the game settings every time he turned on his Samsung. So I had a similar issue as well. Anything?
No. So it's just really when you change your PlayStation, even you change from PlayStation to PlayStation 5 Pro, and then you turn on, it will come up with, hey, I detected a new preference, whatever, blah, 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 console. And it's just annoying. It's just annoying. If you keep your PlayStation or whatever and you turn off and on your console, no problems. But yeah.
So sorry, Marcus, I'll just This one, the only downgrade on the G4 is the ATSC tuner is version 1.0. So for us in Australia, that means absolutely nothing because we don't get any of those 3.0 features. So yeah, if you are in America, but I don't know how many people watch free-to-air TV these days.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably
maybe in the States.
Anymore. I don't know.
We got terrible free-to-air in Australia. Maybe in the States they've got good stuff, but yeah.
Where was it? I don't like the skin tones on Samsung, but that's a calibration thing. And on which Samsung? S95C is really good out of the box, especially the filmmaker mode. When are you planning to do the settings video? As soon I figure out how I can survive without sleeping. I really don't know. I mean, today it's Wednesday. I have so much stuff to do. I need to do a video about the monitor, what I got, a couple of weeks ago, this little portable monitor. I need to do that actually today. And I have my Space Marine 2 comparison video to do. And at some point, yeah. But this needs to break in anyway first, you know what I mean? So it takes some time.
It's a German one for you, Marcus.
Ja, natürlich werde ich das machen. Of course I will test the PlayStation 5 Pro games setting on the G4. But in terms of settings, so I mean, the G4 is a TV, you can use it out of the box. You know, that's a good thing. You know, there are, and I even checked everything. So on the G2, when you do, first of all, you turn on the TV the first time, or you do a factory reset. You have always, and correct me if I'm wrong, but you have to disable the automatic brightness limiter, the power consumption features and whatsoever, so it will dim over time and stuff like that. Nothing is enabled power saving. Nothing. Everything is on off here, which I like. That's what I like. I don't like to have these features on. I bought the TV to have the full brightness, not to save energy. What is this for BS, actually? Save energy, then don't buy anything. Then you save energy.
Yeah, it does raise the question, because I think a lot of TV manufacturers have to make their default settings really low to pass the power consumption restrictions in each individual country. So yeah, some TVs you don't have a choice. Like my Neo QLED, that 8K thing, 85-inch, that thing sucked so much power. I swear when I turned it on, the lights would dim just a little bit, but I remember, out of the box, I had to like turn off all the power saving features, and then the screen would really come through. So it is frustrating.
I'm even sure that they're using probably different firmware in Europe or whatsoever with features enabled, and where they don't need to, they don't need to. I mean, maybe there's a reason, because we have to be in our video, spoiler alert, but this TCL the brightness was limited all the time. So maybe there's a reason for this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And for those of you who are kind of just jumping in on the second half of the video, so if you've seen the banner down below, just another reminder, Gaming Tech and I got together and we made a video doing some TV testing and things like that. And there's a few more coming out. Please check out my channel. I would love any comments and subscriptions. Thank you. So
going to share this again. It takes some time. StreamYard is really nice, but it's just not good.
Yeah.
Sorry. At some point when we have 1 million subscribers, we're using something else.
Huzaifa, I think that's how you say it. Sorry, man. But yeah, he says he's watching from Canada, and it's almost 4 a.m. there, man. Thank you so much for watching us from pretty much the other side of the planet. So yeah, thank you very much, my friend. We might finish up shortly. Just I think Marcus has got. Are you going to put something on the screen, or
I'm trying to?
I'll just quickly go. Just any other questions we have. Please feel free to chuck any questions you have for our genius here, Marcus, who has all the answers to your HDR questions. Surgeon of Death.
Surgeon of Death.
It won't come up. Surgeon of Death said, I had a sleepy pixel about a month ago on my C1, and panel refresh did the job for me. No problems on my C1 2022. I think a C1 is a 2021 TV, but that's good to know if you have been able to rescue it. Another question, does LG Signature Remote work with the G4? I wish LG gave us option to buy high quality remote with backlight, aluminum body, and USB charging. I have seen the Signature Remote. I can't remember what it looked like. I remember it was kind of cool, but do you really care? Like, man, I've got, like an 86-inch LG LCD TV here, a C1, a G1, a G4, and they all have the same remote. So it's just, I think they're just saving money by printing the same remote for everything here. So yeah. I
honestly can't share this anymore. I don't know why.
That's cool. That's cool.
StreamYard says it was blocked for whatever reason.
Okay.
That's weird.
Any other questions for Marcus?
Anything else? No, really can't do it. It's blocking now. Hey, come on, really. This is just ridiculous.
Let me see.
Anyway, so what I can do is I can put the link again in. So this is the video what Adam and I made. And it's really good. So just check it out. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. You know the drill, you know. Maybe we can somehow...
Let's see if I can share
this
it
again.
here.
Oops, sorry.
Did you manage to get it?
No, just give it a try.
Okay.
I can't do it. You know what? Let's try this. Let's put this over here.
Is that sharing now?
Something is happening here.
Yeah, I managed to share it. Yeah, so if anyone is interested, just near the end of the live stream here, Marcus and I got together, we collaborated, we've made a bunch of videos. So the first one's come out where we got 3 budget TVs. One of them was a brand we found at like a cheap local retailer. It's called a Telefunken. Really interesting. This TV was basically dirt cheap, 55-inch, 144 hertz, HDR, had some really interesting stuff on it. So we took them back to the studio. Let's see if we can fast forward, but yeah, we broke them down, kind of went through their specs, explained a few things. So it's a bit more of like an entertainment type video here, where we kind of had a little bit more fun. So it's not as serious as Marcus normally
so we have the TCL here
gets into, but hey, we had a great time. So that's filmed actually in the studio right behind me. So yeah, if you guys are interested, please check it out. There'll be part 2. So basically, I won't spoil it, but we got these 3 TVs. We picked the winner, and then the winner goes up against the LG G4 in the next video. So if you guys are interested, please come across to my channel and check it out. But Marcus and I intend to do a whole bunch more videos in the future. Yeah. So any final questions, Marcus, before we tune out for the evening?
No questions. No questions at all. Of course, I will do a lot of I will in the next coming weeks. Okay, so not now, because again, the panel needs to break in, and I have so many other stuff related to PlayStation 5 Pro. Actually, what I like to do first. But then, yes, of course, there will be some. But don't expect anything like very technical, because everything what I will say was already said. You know what I mean? So there's not there will be no surprises. Okay, let's say like this.
Yeah, excellent.
Andreas Böhler, thank you very much. Thank you guys for your great service. Thank you very much, Andreas. Okay,
and to all the people who are watching us from overseas, and I can see there's quite a lot. Thank you very much. We appreciate it. We understand it's probably a very weird, awkward hour of the time or day where you are. So thank you very much for tuning in with us. And Marcus, I'm really excited to do some more videos. As I said, with the collab, I just had an absolute blast, man. Marcus, you're a legend in person. You're a legend online. We had such a good weekends. Yeah, we hung out, got a chance to just get to know each other, and we, got to play with all the little gadgets we like to play with. So yeah, I can't wait to do some more. But I think that's it for us this evening, Marcus. Any final thoughts on your end?
No, I just need to test this little baby here.
Yeah, man, get that thing broken in, and I think next week we should do maybe a little catch up and see how you are after a week of solid usage.
No worries. Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Thank you everyone for joining us. We will see you on next week's stream. Thank you very much.